So we don't make any comments. We're just going to hear about the bill. It comes to us from the governor's office regarding public charter schools, and I will let the governor's office kick us off with comments, and then after that, please make your way to the table, hit the little man on the right to make sure you can all be heard. As you did before, but we'll just take turns at the table. And we have half an hour, I guess, so I don't think we'll have to limit any comments, but please be short and brief to the point, and I'll leave some time for comments and questions for my colleagues at the end. So with that, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the subcommittee. I'm Molly Severin, Legislative Liaison for Governor Reynolds. Appreciate the opportunity to speak today on the governor's proposal. In 2021, as Governor Reynolds pursued a strong, nationally recognized school choice agenda, Iowa had only 2 public charter schools, both established by local school boards. That year, the governor introduced legislation allowing charter schools to be founded by independent groups not affiliated with a public school district. Since the bill was enacted, Iowa has approved 19 public charter schools, 10 of which are currently in operation. From fiscal year 23 to fiscal year 25, enrollment in Iowa's public charter schools grew by 213%. In 2024, the governor worked with the legislature to close a per-pupil funding gap between traditional public schools and public charter schools, established the Charter Schools Startup Grant Program, and allowed vacant or underutilized public school district facilities to be acquired by other educational entities, encouraging further expansion of charter and other schools. Public charter schools are an important and emerging education model in Iowa, and Governor Reynolds intends to foster an environment in which they and their students continue to thrive. The governor's proposal includes several parts. It enables all state per-pupil funding to follow a student from a public school district of residence to the public charter school of choice. It ensures all charter school students can access concurrent enrollment courses. It allows eligible charter school students to participate in extracurricular athletics at their public school district of residence. It names charter schools as approved settings for new teachers to gain experience toward their standard teaching license, and it requires charter schools to make driver's education available to students. With me today, I have Jane Dufo, the governor's education policy advisor. We're happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Did you have a question? Question. Okay. Next person, just make your way to the table, and if you guys want to tee up, just have a seat at the table. I'll get you next.
Hello, Margaret Buckton with the Urban Education Network and Rural School Advocates of Iowa. Both are registered opposed to the bill, and what I want to make clear is what we agree on. We have no problem with charter schools having to pay the minimum teacher pay and getting some appropriation from the state to do that. We would even suggest that the Department of Management have access to how short they are compared to their current pay scale with the teacher pay minimums and calculate that amount the same way we did with schools, with public schools last year. The difficulty with a teacher salary supplement following students is that those students were not what generated the TSS. It was generated based on the number of FTE teachers and how much it costs to get those teachers to the minimum teacher pay. And all of those students that were already in charter schools weren't counted, and the teachers at the charter schools weren't counted. So when it was backed into and calculated, here's what the district required, here's how many students are served, it was just a division that came up with that. So that's why it's a wide variance of what school districts get for teacher salary supplement. There are 2 ways that you could do this. You could get a state payment from an appropriation, or you could take it off of the state foundation aid, which would be modeled on the way that the mental health placements out of state were funded last year, and that wouldn't negatively impact school district spending authority and would provide a funding stream, and that would be a great way to solve this particular conundrum. If it's hundreds of students, like in the case of Des Moines, who's already reducing their budget because of declining enrollment, it's going to be a budget difficulty to accomplish this funding coming from the public school to the charter school. I also wanted to mention the concurrent enrollment. Again, charter school students should be able to access that. The supplementary weighting for the concurrent enrollment is hundreds of dollars, but what school districts pay for the concurrent enrollment to community colleges can be thousands of dollars. If it's a nursing program, for example, that tuition can be $6,000. So the concurrent enrollment doesn't generate enough funding, and again, that's at the loss of what the public school district's budget is already generating for the students that they are responsible So those two provisions we would oppose. I have no problems with section 32 or 36 to change the public school charter performance model or the contract for 5 years. Those things are just fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Melissa Peterson with the Iowa State Education Association, and we're registered as undecided. I would echo many of the comments that Margaret has made. We need to, I think, make sure that as this moves forward, that it is predictable for the resident districts in particular. I also think if we are going to let the TSS dollars go to the charter school, there should be an obligation to meet at the very least the minimum salary obligations. I think it's also important to note that we're pretty sure that there are plenty that are being paid more than a traditional public school in a resident setting, but it'd be great to have that information. It ought to be public and made public, but frankly, as they're public charter schools. We have some concerns around Division 2, particularly in sections 50, 51, and 52, as it refers to the expenditure of media services for the charter schools. With the AEA reform proposal, House File 2612, just a year or two ago, we basically got rid of a lot of the media services and the PD services, or not PD services rather, but the media service component for AEAs. And so I'd like to have a better understanding of how we would ask a resident district not to go in and back out those media serve expenses to be able to allow them for expenditure in the charter school setting. Just a couple of questions. We appreciate, we understand and hear loud and clear that it is the governor's priority to continue to pursue charter school expansion. We just want to make sure that the playing field is level, that the rules, the guidelines, and accountability and transparency are the same, so that we're setting all of our students up for success. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chris Bynum. I'm the Executive Director of Reynolds High School and Career Center here in Des Moines. We currently stand at 314 students, considerable growth in comparison to where we were last August at 14 kids, and the need is vast. We currently meet the minimums when we look at teacher pay, and so we try to follow the minimum state standards in general. Couple of things that I want to share are what we would do. We work with Opportunity Youth, and the resources for us, we would be looking at helping and supporting kids with barriers, working with transportation, mental health, various other things that our students need to get them back and re-engaged in school. And so those are a lot of the things that we would be looking for with the extra funding. Thank you.
Dustin Rush with Americans for Prosperity. We're appreciative of the continued approach and commitment towards all of the above approach to education. We believe and support this bill because by consolidating charter school law, when we eliminate duplicative innovative zone structures and reinforce performance standards, this bill brings clarity and transparency to Iowa's charter framework. It also ensures students have equitable access to funding, extracurricular activities, and services while maintaining strong oversight. So appreciate the bill being considered.
Good afternoon, thank you, Chair and members of the subcommittee. My name is Dr. Christopher Murphy, and I serve as the Chief Strategic Growth Officer for Concept Schools, as well as our Iowa Regional Superintendent for all Horizon Science Academies in Iowa. Today I'll focus my remarks on the impact that Division 3 of this bill will have on students' experiences at our HSA charter public schools. In Iowa, Concept Schools operates Horizon Science Academy Des Moines, HSA Davenport, and tomorrow we're finalizing our charter with the State Department of Ed to open up Horizon Science Academy Cedar Rapids. When fully built out, each campus will serve approximately 650 K-12 students, representing a significant and growing population of Iowa public charter school students. Across the Concept network, we have a strong record of successful dual credit and early college programs, including robust participation in College Credit Plus and similar models. Our students regularly earn college credit in high school, reducing the cost of post-secondary education and increasing persistence in completion. This provision matters because it ensures that Iowa charters have the same access to concurrent enrollment and student activities that other public school students already have. These provisions remove unnecessary administrative barriers and clarify that access should be based on where a student is enrolled, not on government structures. This is especially important given our STEM-focused educational model. At Horizon Science Academy, the students participate in robotics, competitive mathematics, science fairs, and engineering-based learning. These experiences naturally align with college-level coursework in math and science and computer science and technical fields. This provision also allows well-rounded student development by allowing all charter schools students to participate in athletics and extracurricular activities when at scale or at facilities make standalone programs impractical, particularly in the early years of a school's growth and development. Simply put, this provision is about equitable access. It does not create special treatment for charter schools. It ensures charter students are not excluded from opportunities already afforded to other public school students. So on behalf of the students and families of Des Moines, Davenport, and Cedar Rapids, and all Iowa charter stakeholders, I respectfully urge your support for Division 3 of this bill. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Hi, Michelle Johnson from the Iowa Association of School Boards. We're registered against the bill primarily due to the teacher salary supplement following the student to the charter school. So that money basically funds teachers, not students, although it now will be allocated again on a per pupil basis. When a student or even two chooses to attend a charter school, it's not like a public school can get rid of that teacher. They still have to pay that teacher, and we do have to meet those teacher salary minimums, which is what that TSS was intended for. It's not clear that when or if that money were to go to a charter school, it has to be used for the same purpose for a teacher salary. I'm not saying it wouldn't be, but we are held to those categorical standards. It must be used for teacher salaries. So that's our main concern with this bill. The rest of it we can work with, and those opportunities are great for charter school students, but this is our biggest concern. Thanks.
Good afternoon. I'm Caitlin Harrier. I serve as Senior Director of State Advocacy and Support with the National Alliance for Public Charter Schools. And we are dedicated to ensuring that we have high-quality public charter schools and excellent public school options for students and families across the country that meet the needs of individual children. So the National Alliance greatly appreciates Governor Reynolds bringing this bill and is very grateful to this legislature for considering the many policy improvements that it contains. In my role, I work with state leaders across the country on charter policy and funding, and ensuring that funding follows the student is smart policy. When a student transfers, the responsibility to educate that student transfers immediately, so funding should do the same thing. While charter schools across the country are very used to operating with leaner administrative structures, leaving an average of over $1,000 per pupil at a school that a student no longer attends creates a very serious ripple effect that charter schools must solve for. Iowa charter schools are very committed to hiring and retaining highly effective teachers, and I'm proud to say they have voluntarily met the minimum salary requirements that the state sets, and we have that data available to share with you. So they do that without the TSS funding that the districts receive, and that means that charter leaders have to reallocate those funds away from student-centered priorities that we heard some of my colleagues talk about. And so in sum, charter school students are public school students too, and they deserve the same level of support and opportunity as their district school peers. This bill corrects that imbalance, and it strengthens Iowa's public charter school sector. Thank you for your consideration.
Hi, I'm Amber Williams with Inspired Life. We do support the bill because we know that parents know their children best. And we believe that families should have the freedom to choose the education setting that works best for their child. And when they make that choice, their child shouldn't lose access to any opportunities or support because of it. Public education is meant to serve students and not protect systems. And when funding follows the student, and when access to activities and services follow the student, and when families are held accountable for results, or when schools, are held accountable for results, that's simply fairness, and that's respecting parents. This bill moves in that direction, and we thank the governor for bringing this bill forward to strengthen clarity, accountability, and opportunity for families across Iowa. Thank you.
We'd thank the committee and the governor for bringing this bill forward. Mike Hughley for the Iowa Coalition for Public Charter Schools. One thing that I think is important to recognize is that the way that charter schools are funded is in the current year. Right? So the students enroll in school here, and they are funded for that year. Traditional public schools are funded on their enrollment from last year, right? So one of the challenges here, we talk about how the machinations of TSS work, is that this money, the traditional public schools have a year to plan for this. So the student leaves, whether it's to go to any other school, does not matter where the application is. They have a whole year to set their budget and hire the staff for the next year, right? So the argument of we put it in perspective, 18 of the largest districts in the state of Iowa lost, in this year we're talking about right now, over 16,000 kids to just open enrollment to another public charter school or public school somewhere in their area, right? So that's over $13 million of TSS money. It's a lot of money that is going to the wrong school, right? So there is never a perfect legislative fix for anything. That just doesn't exist, and we all wish we could wave that wand. But there's 1,600 kids in public charter schools. That's $1.7 million that's going to the wrong school, and that compounds every single year, right? So my hope is that we can have common sense legislation that allows the dollars to follow the student, and recognize that the school districts that are retaining that money right now have a whole year to fix that issue. And as my colleague said, charter schools are voluntarily meeting the minimum salary. So there's a lot to like in this bill, and we hope that it moves forward.
Is there anybody else? Representative Kurth, any closing comments?
Yeah, I have concerns about, let's see. I have to know more about how, excuse me, I would like to know more about how the teacher pay is allocated, how it's calculated here on the, or for the regular public schools. I have a lot of concerns about the low funding that we've given to our public schools, and I'm not sure how much we can expand charters as a result when our public schools are hurting. And apparently there's a lot of questions about providing activities and supports for the charters. I don't believe the charters are paying when their students come to the activities at public schools, and yet there is a cost to the public schools to provide the support services and the athletics, and that has to be coming out of the per student money as well. So I think there are a lot of questions about where those monies come from, and perhaps that there needs to be a reimbursement for certain kinds of extras that the publics are required to give to the contract schools, charter schools, excuse me.
Any comments, Representative Fett?
Sure. I will just say, as reading this bill truly is about students, because when we look at each child choosing, their parents choosing the best opportunity, education opportunity, expanding charters is exactly what parents have been asking for. To see the growth from 10 to almost 19 now, 10 active, is a huge success to the school choice legislation that's been passed over the last few years. If we truly believe in school choice, then the money should follow the student no matter where they go. So this bill outlines that exactly the way it should work, the spirit of that. I understand even the people that maybe had some negative comments today or disagreed to a certain extent, understand and said the bill was good for public charter. So I think that we're getting to a point where we do agree on a lot of things, and we're putting the students first. So I am thankful for this bill, and I will be signing off on it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll just close and say, I just want to shout out Horizon Science Academy and Great Oaks for being here. I had a chance to visit both schools, and you guys are doing great things for kids. And these are public school students, public school teachers in a public school, even though they are a charter, they have a little more accountability, more flexibility in the way they do that programming, and the things they're doing are just super impressive, the scores, and I'm going to move this bill forward. I'm going to miss the innovation school zones reference in all of our code when this goes away, but